Hey guys, welcome back to the garden. This is Andy with Get Your Wellies. Join me this evening as we find a place to put these beautiful aster plants in the flower bed over here. But first of all, as always, why don't you get your wellies? Meet me in the garden. Hey guys, so these asters are just beautiful. We picked them up on a recent trip to Ohio where we went to a place called the Covered Wagon. They used to sell their produce and flowers from just a covered wagon. Now it's a lot more elaborate than that. And the color of these asters just kind of stood out to me and my wife. They also had some wandering Jews there, and I've kind of wanted a few houseplants. So I asked them about that because the only thing they had were huge wandering Jews, and they gave me this little one for free. Now, some of its buddies haven't fared so well in amongst all these weeds, but this little one I think we can salvage, so I'm going to do that too. Now, those of you who've been following garden tours will recognize these metal beds. The main feature on this one that's to the right of our archway is the honeysuckle. It's looking a little tired. It's the end of the year. It's been crazy hot in Arkansas, but finally cooling down. But this is where this one goes into the bed. It's done well. It's looking a little pitiful now, but it actually grew past the mid section of this trellis this year, so it's done quite well. The other plants in the bed are pretty much spent. We had lantana in here, we had a couple other flowering things, and as you can see, the most important thing I wanted to talk about here is the fact that this bed has, as you can see, this has dropped several inches since we started this bed. Those of you who've been following along would remember this when it was pretty full, but we also, in fairness, when we started these two beds, we actually put a whole bunch of branches and sticks and leaves and that kind of stuff just to purposely allow it to decompose and make a good base for what was going to be planted on top of it later. So both the years that we've had in the springtime, we've had to add soil to this. That's what we're going to do again, but I am going to remove all of this stuff that's in here because it's about done. This dried up shriveled plant was a black-eyed Susan vine. That's going to come down. Next year you're going to see Malabar spinach growing there. But first of all, let's just take these plants, old worn out plants, out of these two beds. Only thing I'm going to leave is that honeysuckle right there. Now, after we have taken all the plants out, except for the honeysuckle, of course, what we're left with is mulch on top. And what I'm going to do is take this mulch out. The reason for that is I'm going to have to fill these beds up because as these leaves and branches and twigs that we put in the bottom break down, this level is definitely going to go down for several seasons, and we're just going to top it off with new soil. So I don't want to leave that mulch in there because this stuff, it'll break down and it'll be a good compost at some point, but as it breaks down, it's going to take nitrogen out of the soil. And if you're wanting to, that's fine over the winter, but if you're wanting to put fall plants in there or put some veggies in over the winter time, you don't want your plants to have to compete with microbes that are breaking down this mulch here for nitrogen. So I'm going to scrape the top layer off of this just with a rake, and I have this small rake just for this purpose. Well, not just for this purpose, but definitely works for this. So we're just gonna pull that mulch back, get the majority of it out of the way like that. You still see some potash and stuff from last spring when we put stuff in here. So I'm going to pull all this into the corner like this. There's a tag off of the plant there. We're going to take that out. So all of this that I piled up here, I'm going to take out before I put any more soil in here. So here's what the bed looks like with most of the mulch out of it. Now we're looking at just soil. There's a few bits of mulch in there, but that's okay. Just a few is alright. I just don't want the microbes to have a feast and suck up all the nitrogen. So we're going to top that off with some of this raised bed mix. This stuff I got from Home Depot. Wasn't terribly expensive. I think maybe 8 something a bag maybe. And it works well in these raised beds. So now we're gonna put some soil in this bed. So with one bag of soil on there, that's brought it up a fair amount, a couple inches. Let's see, I'll level this out just a little bit more. There we go. So that's brought it up a couple more inches, which is probably good for now. Now we can choose to add mulch to this, although now the weather's getting a little cooler. We may not, because we'll add mulch in the spring for sure. So we're going to put these asters in here. I'll show you the other box when we're done with both of these for the evening. But we may need to go get some pansies or mums or something else to put in this bed with this, but no mulch for right now, just the plants, and then we'll take a look at that tomorrow, and then I'll show you the updated version when we're finished. So the asters are going to go in the middle of the bed, right about where that trowel is, and then we'll get a few other things tomorrow and show you the finished product in the morning. So my wife and I went by one of the big box stores and we got some violas here. Those are quite pretty. They will actually stay in flower a little longer than the pansies probably. They also may reseed. These are the pansies we got. Pretty yellow and black ones. So I'm going to put these in. Sure and put some additives in there. A little bone meal, and some blood meal. Alright guys, so here are the finished beds. As you can see, this is just 4 plants in this one, plus our honeysuckle of course, which I trimmed back a little bit, let a bit more light in here for these flowers. You don't need to add a whole lot, and there's room for growth here, so this is about what you need to do in a bed this size. We may put some mulch on, haven't decided about that. It is starting to cool off a bit here, so we may not need to do that. And here's the other bed. Sort of a balance with the first one. So that's it. A pretty simple project, wasn't terribly expensive to do. So a great thing to do in the fall. Get a little color in your garden. Pansies and violas will add color even through the winter months. They're very hardy to even snow, so that might be a good option for your garden if you've got a space you need to fill in. So thanks for joining me today guys. I appreciate you coming along as we do this little project out here. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you get to do something soon in your garden, and until I see you next time, bye now.